It's Monday, and we all know what that means. Up until now, I've been focusing mainly on the exciting effects, your distortions, your fuzzes, etc. But what about those effects that don't actually do much, but they make a massive difference to your guitar tone and the way you play? I wanted to talk about utility effects. Now, with these utility effects, I thought there's probably some good passive effects I can actually bring to this. Don't actually require any of the battery underneath the hood of the Guitar-O-Matic, but maybe offer you something that you didn't have before. I made this bass cut module that you maybe be able to see there. Really small enclosure, or really small package rather. Just one capacitor pushing the signal through. And it didn't actually come out the way I wanted it to, but the idea is really solid. So that's potentially something we can look at for the future for a utility module. I've also had in mind, and this might be a little bit wacky, but to actually mount a microphone directly to a module so that you could maybe bypass your guitar signal and start picking up signal from just around your environment. You could yell into it straight into your effect board and out of your amplifier or whatever you're using. Just create some wacky noises and stuff like that. But the main thing I want to really look at with these utility modules is EQ. EQ plays a massive part in our guitar signal. There's been heaps of videos I've seen lately of people saying an EQ is their secret weapon pedal and things like that. So I've actually made a module here of a 3-band EQ. And I haven't even built it yet, so let's have a look at that. I've just finished building this 3-band EQ module. Let's chuck it in and find out. It's only a proto, so fingers crossed. It's passing sound, that's a good start. So I set this one up so that the trim pots on the module itself control treble and bass, and the X control controls mids. So it's like, if you weren't going to touch the trim pots, it would just be like an active mid sweep. This is with the mids all the way down. That's off, obviously. It's almost like a pseudo acoustic sound. It's not the worst. Forget what that line is. Anyway, yep, not the worst. Then about halfway with the mids, this should be a pretty transparent sound. It's not. I've got to work on that. And this is all the way up. Whoops, I turned it off. Very pokey. Not quite as honky as the discontinued Lepers mids. Those mids are, could you say musical? I would say that they're musical. They're kind of honky and like cocktoir sort of thing. This is like, I would say it's got a slightly higher peak. Yeah. It's all right. It has some use, but to be honest, that module is probably not going to make the cut the way it is, so back to the drawing board for that one. Now, while a variable EQ might be really handy, the vast majority of us are only going to make little changes. And oftentimes that's going to be to do with balancing guitars, or making one guitar sound a little bit more like another, or just giving a guitar a little bit of extra fatness. Now, what I want to look at is the glow-up module. I think most of us in our guitar playing journey have had to ask ourselves the question, are we a humbucker player or are we a single coil player? I myself usually am a tele guy. I love playing Telecasters, love that single coil tone, and also love the fact that with a tele bridge pickup in particular, you can still get some of those really great rock and roll sounds. But the thing is, that bridge tele pickup, as great as it might be, it's never going to sound like a Les Paul. And that is where the glow up comes in. So what the glow up actually does is it shifts your guitar's resonant peak. And what that is like the focus of the highs in your guitar. So what the glow up will do is in the natural setting, which is both dip switches to the right, it will not change the tonality of your guitar at all. And you'll just have a straight, clean boost. With the top dip switch set to zing to the left, it's going to shave off just a little bit of those highs and shift that resonant peak down a little bit. In that range, it's going to give you tones much more reminiscent of maybe either really fat single coils or those fantastic Les Pauls, those old Les Pauls that often people say sound a little bit like a Telecaster. So it's still going to sound open and stringy like a Telecaster or a Strat if that's what you've got, but you're just going to get a little bit more of that fatness and mid-range that you would expect out of humbuckers. And then if you set the dip switch, bottom dip switch to thick, what you'll get is same idea, but again, even fatter. So you're looking at those sort of overwound PAF type tones. So with the glow up module, particularly if you are a single coil player, you're getting some great EQ and tone shaping, as well as a fantastic 25-ish dB boost. I'll start with the settings on natural, all the way to the right, show you the boost function, and then go from there. So that's it for another Module Monday. I hope you guys have an awesome week. See you next time.